Welcome, I'm Cassandra, and this is your general and love forecast for 18. This is for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Hold on. Wow. Okay. So it's like a tiny bit of light has literally poked through one of the blinds from the window behind me, and it is shining directly on this stone. This has never happened, so yeah, I'm gonna take this as a sign. Okay, this is called lepidolite. This is a lavender lepidolite. This stone is got many purposes. Whether you believe in them or not, hey, they're worth a try. But this stone, if you suffer from nightmares or like night terrors, this stone is very, very good. This can help you and prevent some of the nightmares and night terrors. This stone also has some natural lithium in it. So this stone is also what we would classify as an angel stone, so angel communications. This stone is also used for depression and anxiety, hence lithium. So for those of you who suffer from anxiety, depression, or even bipolar disorder, this lepidolite would be a very good stone to have. You can get it in raw form, which this is the raw form of it. That one's a lot more lavender, even though you can't really see it very well. But these do great to absorb the electromagnetic energies as well that are emitted from, our computers, our phones, our TVs, things of that nature. So they have so many purposes, but this is a very calming and soothing stone. I use it quite frequently. So that might resonate with some of you, and you might want to find a new age or metaphysical type of shop. Sometimes certain record stores might have them as well. But I think I spent like $5 on that, but boy, was it a good $5 because I love that stone. Okay, yeah, sorry. That doesn't ever happen, and that's a sign. So I just had to put that out there. If you have any more questions about the lepidolite, just drop them below in the comment box and I'll get back at you, because there's a lot of uses for lepidolite. But those are pretty much the biggies right there. Okay, moving forward. So the first card, this is for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. So it looks like you guys have gotten a new start. And since it's in the reverse position, I'd like to warn you guys of making impulsive actions and saying things impulsively, because sometimes we can speak or act in a thoughtless manner, even though it may not be intentional at all. But under this type of energy, it's kind of like we can be a little bit more reckless. So we do have to watch out for that. We don't want to make foolish decisions or judgments, and we certainly don't want to speculate in a foolish manner either. So we got to be careful. Sometimes this can indicate that, you've been given a new start, but it's like you could be experiencing some delays. And in regards to this new start, now it doesn't mean that you're not going to get to continue on with this new start. It just means you're experiencing some delays. So this is definitely where we, need to have faith. And we definitely need to, be careful on what we say, how we say it, and, some of our actions. We just need to think things through a little bit, if possible. But, this energy can be a bit reckless sometimes, so yeah, be careful. Doesn't have to be though, because we do have free will. Always remember that. The most of it is just really a delay. Now it's clarified by the faith card in reverse. So the faith card in reverse, this is where things are not traditional, things are very unconventional. This card can also indicate, rebelliousness, so some of you could be rebelling. This is also a card of refusing to conform, like, hey, I am not going to fit into your little box, okay? So, because sometimes some people will expect you to fit in this little box that they have for you. And you know what? You don't have to. Be you and be true to yourself, okay? We can't always do what everyone else wants us to do, otherwise, we'll never be happy, you know? So you've got to do what's best for you and follow your own gut, Do what you know is best for you, always. So perhaps for some of you, this start could be a bit unconventional, non traditional. Maybe you're ready to do something completely different that would be considered, untraditional, unorthodox, you know. Hey. No judgment from me because I love this energy actually, so because I'm a bit of a rebel myself. I'm not going to fit into a box just because somebody wants me to. In fact, you try to make me fit in a box, and I'll do exactly the opposite on purpose. And this might be what some of you guys are doing. But for a lot of you, this new start could be with something that is considered unconventional, non traditional, unorthodox. For some of you, this could be about a relationship, and perhaps this is a relationship that is different from what is considered the traditional relationship. Maybe for some of you, this could be like a polyamorous type of relationship, where it's like an open relationship. Maybe some of you, are like, hey, I want to have a relationship, but I am not about getting married or that life, so don't even ask, you know. Some of you could be considering some type of work that could be considered non-traditional because the faith card does deal with bartering, and exchanging money for, a service. And maybe this service could be one that is unconventional, not traditional. Or maybe some of you are just like, hey, I refuse to conform. I'm not going to do what you want me to. Okay, so this would be the circumstances. So we have the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups, she's definitely one that is concerned with other people's welfare. She is a caretaker. She is, you could find her like in medical professions. Someone who is a caretaker, someone who could be a nurse, someone who could do like at-home health work, so where you go to other people's homes and, assist them and help take care of them, hospice type of things. Um, Typically this is a very good mom, a very good wife. So for some of you, this could be an actual woman that you're dealing with. For some of you, this could be a male that you're dealing with that has some similarities. For some of you, this could just be some of the overall energy that you're channeling. Now, this queen, another thing about her is she's very much a healer, but she tends to rely on her intuition rather than her logic and intellect. So, yeah, she has a very vivid imagination, and actually this imagination is one of her greatest talents. Okay, so it is clarified by the Six of Swords in the reverse position. So this is about us going through a loss of some sort. A lot of times this could be considered a family loss or a loss that affects the home, a lot of times in an adverse type of way. So ultimately, we need to move away from it because we can find peace on the other side. But a lot of times, this is something that's more within the mind. This can be done within the mind, and once we do it within the mind, it can actually transfer to the outside world where it actually happens, So, but for some of you, you literally are stuck in a situation where there's some sort of loss around the situation. It could be a job loss, it could be, a loss of income, it could be, just unhappiness within the family life. Family members could be at odds with each other. It could be so many different things. But it's like you're not able to move away from the situation. Maybe it's finances that are holding you back. Maybe for some of you, you're being held back by someone like this. And for some of you, you need to channel this energy to remove yourself out of this situation. Because no matter what, this is a situation which we need to release ourselves from. We need to find that peace on the other side of the shore, so to speak. But again, this can be done in the mind first. We just need to find that peace with our situation, with our life, with everything. And the moment that we can find peace with where we're at, then that can happen in the material, physical world as well. But it must be done in the mind as well. Okay, so this would be the focus. So we have the Justice card. So the Justice card is about the things that are right, the things that are fair, what is honorable, making fair decisions, fair judgment. For some of you, this could be about legal issues. So thankfully, the Justice card is upright, so it wouldn't be indicating any corruption. So that's a good thing. It's always good to see justice in the upright position. I mean, sometimes justice can belong to the other party, but that's a whole nother talk show right there. So ultimately, this is about making the right decision, not making an impulsive type of decision. This is where we need to do just like Justice, just like Libra. We need to take our time. We need to weigh the pros and the cons of our choices and, even research if we need to so that we have all of the facts, and then we carefully weigh it out and make our choice then. And this could be, about themes of justice in general for some of you. Wow, okay. So it's clarified by the Two of Swords, which is the Moon and Libra card. So, like a double dose of Libra. So it looks like you have a decision to make. So some of you could have a decision to make in regards to something legal. Maybe some of you just have a decision to make, and the Justice card is saying make the honorable choice. Weigh the pros and the cons, take everything into consideration, and, come to a fair judgment. Because the Two of Swords is very much about having a choice to make, but there is also some indecision that surrounds it. So again, if you're having a hard time making that decision, that's why I said weigh the pros and cons. And, sometimes we need to do some research, maybe even some background checks sometimes, whatever it takes, sometimes we need to have those extra details to help us make our mind up, on which way we want to go. Because ultimately, this is about us having, options here on what do we want to do. Which shall I choose? Which way shall I go? Should I do it or should I not? So we're definitely questioning something, needing to make a decision. But Justice is saying, make the right decision. So this would be your recent past. So we have the Devil card. So the Devil card is about addictions, especially addictions with sex, because the Devil is a very sexualized card. But it is about addictions in general. I mean, sometimes we can be addicted to, shopping. Sometimes we can be addicted to being in relationships. Sometimes we can be addicted to drama, Sometimes it's drugs, sometimes it's alcohol, I mean, so many addictions. I could go for hours and hours listing addictions, So addictions, obsessions, fear, karmic toxic relationships, and also issues of like bondage and illusion. You see these golden handcuffs. She's just sitting there chilling with a cigarette in her mouth, like, I guess I'm stuck here. But you see that tiny little wrist. I mean, she could pull her hand right out of that. I mean, but the illusion is there. You know, she thinks that she's tied to the devil, like she can't get free, but she can. So, this could be pretty straightforward for you guys. You know, there might be a situation in which you're involved in, you know, or, you know, you could be dealing with an addiction, you could be dealing with some sort of obsession. Some of you could be dealing with some, you know, karmic toxic relationships, and these relationships can be platonic or romantic, you know, but you can get out of it. You're not stuck. You're not as stuck as you think you are. Even with addiction, you can beat the addiction. The devil will tell you you can't, but you can. So fear is one that comes up pretty big with this one as well. Because fear wants to paralyze you, kind of like the devil, you know? So, yeah, don't let this temptation, so to speak, to hold you back any further. But, you know, this is your past, your recent past. Okay, so it's clarified by the Two of Coins. So this is about us juggling, you know, some of us could be juggling resources. Some of us could be, you know, juggling our job and then, you know, maybe perhaps a difficult home situation. Maybe a difficult personal situation. Whatever it was, you know, maybe anything related to this card. Could be addictions, could be fears, could be obsessions, could be, you know, karmic toxic relationships, could be, you know, the whole illusion and bondage of feeling like you're stuck in something but you're really not. But, you know, there's also a very financial tone to the Two of Coins. And the Devil card is actually ruled by Capricorn, which most Capricorns are just addicted to working, so. Yeah. Some of you could be juggling a lot of situations that are financial, you know, personal. And this is definitely a card of maintain your balance, you know, because if you lose your balance, you won't be able to continue to juggle these. But the upside is you're able to do it. And you did it. So now we're moving to the present. So this is the present, the here, the now energies. So we have the Page of Swords. So this could potentially be a younger person. Doesn't have to be. But this is about us receiving messages. Now, these messages can be messages of secret type of info. This can be info that comes from a third party. Sometimes this can be spying. So info received through spying. This card very much reminds me of Gemini, but it reminds me of all the air signs in general. But Gemini and Aquarius are the ones that stick out to me the most when it comes to this card. Absolutely. Now, anytime this card pops up, there is a need to look at a situation, okay? Because there is always a message that is delivered when we see a page. So we're always receiving some sort of message, some sort of communication. And there is a need to look deeper into this message, okay? Because there's more than meets the eye about it. So you need to look deeper into this message. Because what it appears to be on the surface it's not exactly what, you know, it appears to be. There's more to it. And so you really need to look deeper into the situation, okay? Now, sometimes this can be indicating that we could potentially be receiving some news about us being delayed in regards to some sort of project we'd be involved with, you know. But typically this is a card of changes and communication. But overall, sometimes this can be a card where we receive some sort of disappointing information. Now, if you receive some sort of disappointing information this month, there is a need to look deeper into it. Don't just take it as, the whole entire truth and nothing but, okay? Because there is something else to it. There is a need to look deeper into it. Because not everything appears as it really truly is. Okay, yeah, very much a delay. Yeah. So, we have the Ace of Wands here. The aces are always about a new start, but when I see an ace in the reverse, this tells me there's a blockage of some sort. So, what's the blockage, Gemini? Have you lost passion? Because, this is a wand, so you can really very easily reignite that passion. This can be about something that we start. Maybe we started off with great passion, but then as we get into it, maybe this news can make us lose that passion, for this new start. Don't let it do that. You know, like I said, there's always a blockage when I see an ace in the reverse, but sometimes there can be something missing as well. Maybe something we're not doing right, something that we're not seeing. Need to look deeper. Need to look deeper. Because I'm feeling for a lot of you, this is a message regarding some sort of new start, something new. This could be a start with with someone new. Maybe you got a project on the side. It could be a creative project. It could be some sort of job type of project. It could be different types of projects. Okay, maybe you had great enthusiasm, and passion about it at first, but then maybe we received this disappointing news, and then maybe the fire goes out, the passion leaves. It's just a delay. And like I said, you need to look deeper into the messages, the news that you receive. Look deeper into this situation here. Whatever this new start is, look deeper into that as well. Something's not coming together for a reason. And so we need to look deeper. We need to look beneath the surface. Because all that glitters is not gold, okay? Things can appear to be one way, and then there's something totally different. A lot of illusions out here, and a lot of illusions are getting shattered, okay? We got Neptune in retrograde. Technically, Neptune will not go back into direct movement until, I think it's the 25th. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, Neptune is literally out here snatching the veil off people's eyes, okay? And all of a sudden, we are able to see certain people, certain situations for exactly what they are. And then some people are going to be feeling pretty shocked, like, I can't believe I've been walking around with a pair of rose-colored spectacles. I can't believe I've been fooled. Don't beat yourself up, because a lot of people have been getting fooled. A lot of people have been dealing with all these illusions, and you're not the only ones, okay? So you are not alone in that boat, alright? Okay, so this is your near future. So we have the Sun card in the reverse position. So this tells me that you guys are dealing with some sort of delay. Now, this delay could have something to do with work, a work project, a side project. This could be about schooling. This could be about, home, so moving. This could be about a goal that you've been trying to accomplish. Maybe you've been experiencing setback after setback and delay and delay. And sometimes this can be about a relationship, a marriage. And when it's in the reverse position, it's kind of like it hits a crossroad where it's like, okay, should I invest any more of my time or energy or love into this? Because, I'm feeling like it's a lost cause. But you always have to remember that the Sun is a card of optimism. In the reverse position, this is where we've lost our optimism. But you always have to remember that there is a silver lining in the cloud, so to speak, okay? There's a reason for every delay. And while they can be extremely frustrating, you need to realize that every delay that we go through, they happen for a very good reason. Sometimes these delays actually prevent us from getting ourselves into certain situations where we could have been taken advantage of. Many different things. Delays happen for a very good reason. And I know that you guys are like, quick, 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 I want it now, I want it yesterday. But trust me, this delay is for a very good reason. I know it doesn't feel like that, but just know and trust and have faith that everything will work out, okay? Because it will. We just need to understand that and know that delays happen for a good reason. Some of you have to deal with some relationship issues. For some of you, you might be dealing with some friendships that may be coming to an end or experiencing some problems, and you're trying to figure out, should I end it? So it's not just, marriage only. Time to get that shine back. Time to shine with optimism and passion. So it's clarified by the Seven of Coins. So this tells me that most of you are experiencing a delay in regards to finances, an investment of some sort. Maybe some of you are waiting on, maybe some of you are waiting on a check to come in. Maybe some of you are waiting on a sum of money to come your way. Maybe you're waiting on a payment from someone. For some of you, this can be about putting a lot of hard work and your time and your energy and sometimes your blood, sweat, and tears into a project, okay? And this is about reaping the harvest. This is also a card of you reap what you sow. But this card is definitely a money card, and it's a card of, a good harvest. But perhaps this harvest is being delayed. So some of you could be waiting on money. It's gonna come. It's just delayed. For some of you, this could be about a job too. For some of you, that could be about maybe a loan or a grant. Maybe some of you are wanting to, take some courses or go to college, and maybe you're trying to get approved for, funding, and maybe it's just been delayed. Don't lose hope though, okay? Don't lose hope. This would be your attitude. So we got the Knight of Cups in reverse. Okay, let's make it clear. Not every Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising wants to be in a relationship, okay? Alright. Now I'm going to clown on you guys for a minute. Because I love you guys. What are y'all out here doing? Are y'all out here like trying to just be like, hey, yo, you want to be a girl? You want to be a man? Even though you guys know you ain't got no intention on keeping that going. Come on. Are y'all playing? Okay, time to be serious. So, yeah, anytime we see the Knight of Cups in reverse, this is somebody who could potentially be dealing with issues, commitment issues. Someone who could be a bit fearful of relationships and committing. Maybe a bit fearful of opening their heart all the way. But hey, some people are cross-watching, okay? So, yeah, when we see this is like if, for those of you who are cross-watching, if a Gemini offers you an invitation or a proposal of sorts, you need to question that, okay? Sorry, Geminis, I love y'all, but I gotta keep it real. So let's just make sure everything is, happening for the right reasons, Okay. Now, also, this card is about divine relief. So, I feel like some of you feel like it's not coming, but it is. It really is. It's just you have to be patient, and I know you guys are like, oh, would you shut up already? You gotta be patient, though. Sorry, I'm Virgo, so I annoy you, but I love you guys. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes this can be indicating that, if you have started a relationship, because there are some Geminis that, legitimately want to be in a relationship. So this could be indicating that there could be a very slow start, maybe even a very rocky start to the relationship. Yeah. But there's still a need to definitely look deeper into it. But I feel for most of you guys, this is about, wanting that divine relief and just wondering, is it ever going to come? Because I'm tired of dealing with the delays. It will come. Okay, so it's clarified by the Four of Swords in reverse. So the Four of Swords in reverse, this is, basically we have taken a retreat. We have withdrawn, had some time to ourselves. Some of us have actually just gotten back from vacation. This is also a card of retreat, and it's also a card of temporary truce. So, for some of you, this could very much be indicating that there could be some conflict, some sort of battle that was taking place with someone that you love, someone you might have been in a relationship with. And it's like, now we've had this temporary truce, and now we're going to be jumping right back into action. So we have to deal with this, and we have to close it out. Yeah. So, but this is a card of us being rested now. And we've recovered, we've battled, and we've gotten our rest, we've gotten our retreat, and now it's back into action. Now we have to deal with things. So this is how other people would see you. So we have the Temperance card in the reverse. No. Really? Gemini? Impatient? No, never. Okay, I'm not trying to make fun of y'all, because not every single Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising is impatient. But some are. Okay. Alright, I need to stop clowning around. See, this is what happens when I get into Gemini energy. Now I'm just being a clown. Not that y'all are clowns, but I'm clowning around. Because I'm a Virgo, so I'm always so serious. So when I get into Gemini energy, I lighten up, start running mouth. Yep. Feeling a little crazy? No. I don't want to say crazy, but wild. Yeah. Okay. Enough. So, this is how other people see you. So here we have Temperance in reverse. This is where we are like wanting everything like last year. We want it now, now, now. And this is definitely where our patience and our tolerance is getting tested in a major way, okay? And let me tell you, if you work with other people, especially if you work like in a position of authority where you have to deal with customers or clients or things of that nature, wow, they can really work your nerves. Sometimes they'll come and complain, and then you got to hear them out. So you definitely want to hear them out, because sometimes they might actually make a very valid point, and then it can help you correct something, to prevent failure later on. But this is definitely a card of needing to slow down. We need to slow down, and we need to take the time to smell the roses, admire the beautiful roses, admire their beauty, admire their fragrance, and just slow down for a moment, because You know, this is quite literal. If you take this time to slow down, you could actually end up running into an opportunity. And if you had not slowed down to smell these roses, then you would have just passed up the opportunity. So there are hidden opportunities that are here in the Temperance card when it's in the reverse. Now, another aspect of this Temperance card in reverse is it's definitely indicating that our emotions and our intellect are not in balance. So right now it's kind of like our emotions are behind the steering wheel. So that can be kind of dangerous. We don't want to be making our decisions with just our emotions, especially for an air sign. Intellect has to come into play. So this is definitely indicating that we need to find that balance again. And perhaps that might be why you might have a bit of a short fuse. Some of you could be, really feeling that impatience with a short fuse. Some of you might even be coming across as intolerant, even though you don't mean to with other people, but it's just, that's the way it's working out. So this is just a call to, we've got to find that balance because we can't have our emotions behind the steering wheel. That's not good. Okay, so it is clarified by the of cups in reverse. So this would tell me that for some of you, this imbalance that you're going through, it's because of your family life, your home life. So for some of you, this could indicate that you could be having to fix some things in your home. Sometimes this can actually indicate that a home has been vandalized. Sometimes this can indicate that there could be something regarding water. So there could be some sort of flooding. So there could be a pipe that breaks. Sometimes this can be a dishwasher, a water heater, a washing machine, water softener, anything that has, water. Sometimes these home items can break down, and that alone can test some people's patience. So, but on occasion, this card can actually indicate an act of God type of flooding, and it can also be structural type of issues to the home as well. So I always like to put the warning out there that if you are having a home built or if you are having your home remodeled, perhaps you might be developing a short fuse and getting impatient. But with the Ten of Cups in reverse, this is saying, hey, hold on, stop. So this is kind of like 1 foot on the gas and 1 foot on the brake here. This is like a stop. We need to pay attention, especially if you're building a home or having one remodeled or even having a home repaired, okay? Especially if the repair is something that is structural, having to do with the bones of the house. We need to be careful. Sometimes we need to get a couple opinions because we want to make sure that it gets fixed right so that we do not have to keep doing it because it can actually get more costly, especially if you're building a home. Oh, yeah, we do not want to have some sort of structural problem and they overlook it and then they just keep on building. Oh, that could be a nightmare, okay? So, you might need to get another architect or two's opinion. So these are some of the issues that can come up. Now, in general, this could perhaps indicate that a marriage breaks up and so then a family ends up breaking up. Or there's some sort of unhappiness within the home. Maybe some of you are having a hard time maintaining that mortgage payment or making your rent payment. And this could be adding to some sort of unhappiness within the home life. Sometimes the parents can be at odds with each other. Sometimes, the parents could be at odds with the children. But look, the dog's all separate. He's like, yo, I'm good. But, in general, it's really nothing to laugh about because, this can be pretty upsetting for some people. So this could very much be a situation that's taken place within your home Or maybe someone else's home that's very close to you that could potentially be family. But there's definitely some sort of upset, for some, this could be about losing a home. For some, this could be about simply just being worried about not being able to maintain the home. For some, this can be about not having that personal contentment and that happily ever after. And, sometimes it can be about, a family breaking apart and, divorce, things of that nature. So that's going to resonate with some of you, and some of you, that particular part won't. But, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. It's that simple. Okay, so this would be the hopes and fears, and yeah, okay, this is some real dark shit. Excuse French, but this is dark. So we're gonna say fear. For some of you, I really hope this hasn't played out for you, but for some of you it could, or it already has, and maybe you could be having fears like, oh God, is this gonna happen to me? Well, don't fear. Don't let the fear creep in, okay? So that's never good. No fear. Alright? So, the Emperor in reverse. The Emperor is typically an authority figure, so when the Emperor is reversed, this is us not handling things well when it comes to dealing with people in authority. This can also indicate that we be acting maybe a bit immature, maybe a bit dictatorial, because you might feel like you're losing power over something or someone or, a certain situation. It's like there is a loss of power or the fear of losing power over something. And this can actually, bring a pretty, bad side out. So dictatorial, a bit immature, losing power. This can also be someone who is quite abusive. Sometimes it can be verbal, sometimes it can be physical as well. So some of you might actually fear this in general. But yeah, this is someone who really needs to take control of their life rather than being worried about losing that power over other people. But unfortunately, sometimes the ego can win. And yeah. This can also be the card of our Father as well. And so for some of you, this could be a card where you fear that maybe your dad's health is not good. For some of you, this could be, some of your dad's actions and behavior has not been good, not been ethical. Yeah. For some of you, this could be a person in authority that abused their power. Yes, so I said this is some dark poo here. So, King of Coins in reverse. So this is a man who wants the money. He wants all those finer things in life, but he does not want to do any work for it. He just wants other people to do the work while he reaps all the benefits. So the King of Coins, this can be some really shady, illegal, unethical things that he'll do to get this money. So there can be things that are illegal, and then there could be things that, are unethical ways of getting money that are still not right. Now, sometimes this can be indicating that this is someone who is easily to bribe, easily to coerce. So, yeah. This is not the type of person you would ever want to trust with your money at all. Absolutely not. Because this is someone who will take your money and run. They will take advantage of you at every twist and turn they possibly can. This really not any good energy here. So, yeah. Woo-wee! Put the crystal on there because, I'm not digging that energy at all. That's not good. Now, the King of Coins in reverse, this can also be like black market type deals. Yeah, we want to avoid those as well. And sometimes, this can be like, dealing drugs. Yeah. Not anything I would ever recommend. So, yeah, it's pretty shady with both of those cards together. Yeah. I'm not going to recommend that path at all. In fact, this is a path you want to stay away from. these two cards together. So if you've got some situation in your life where this is kind of resonating, then yeah, you should definitely use this situation as a reminder of what you do not want to be and what you won't allow. I mean, to each his own, do what you feel is best for you at the end of the day, but yeah, you definitely don't want to. I don't even want to touch them. You definitely don't want to be taking advantage of people and taking their money, especially if you did absolutely nothing to deserve it other than, abuse your power and scam them. So, yeah. Gotta shake that one off. Okay. Over here. I don't even want those cards touching. Okay, yeah, let's put some hematite as well. So, crystal for cleansing and the hematite for grounding. Yeah. Okay, so here we are. Ace of coins for the final outcome. Look at you, Geminis. Y'all getting a new financial start. So, for some of you, this could be like a new job. For some of you, this could be like a new project. For some of you, this could be a new investment. For some of you, this could be a new understanding of money and finances. This can be so many different things, but this is a new start in general. For some of you, this could be about getting a home. For some of you, this could be about investing in real estate. This can be so many different things. But overall, this is a new start in regards to finances. Now, let me give you a little warning here because I would hate to see this Ace of Coins go to the reverse. So I'm going to give you the warning so that we can, prevent it because, being forewarned is being forearmed. So anytime I see the Ace of Coins, to me, I always want to automatically warn, be careful, especially if you are like starting a new project, or starting a new business or considering investing in something, whatever it is, there is a need to still be careful and cautious because sometimes the Ace of Coins can indicate that, we have money that comes in, okay? Now, we need to be careful with our finances, especially if we plan on spending it or investing it in some way, shape, or form. We need to be careful that we do not overextend ourselves financially. So for some of you that could be starting like a new business or, investing in something or even starting a new job, whatever it is, there is a need to pay attention to how much you're spending. There are certain things that we absolutely need to survive, and there are things that we want. Okay? And when we have this type of energy with a new start, we need to just focus on what is the necessities and let's worry about what we want later, okay? Because I just don't want to see this reverse on you guys. This is a great way to end this reading, and I don't want to see it, go to the reverse. So this is just definitely a need to pay attention, don't overextend yourself financially. So you want to leave some planning room in regards to your finances. For instance, say you're going to invest in some real estate, okay? And you're going to have to spend, a certain amount to, bring the house up to code and, get certain things fixed. Okay, well, you're going to have a budget here, all right? Now, what you should do is increase that budget. Why? Because there can be unforeseen issues that could come up. And you don't want to be financially overextended. So it's just better to kind of plan on that type of scenario. That way, if it doesn't happen, we got extra money. We're cool. We're fine. We're doing good. So, yeah, that's just a small example. We just need to be careful with our finances, because it is a blessed new start, especially in regards to finances. But we just need to hold tight and be careful with our money and don't overextend. And look at this. Oh my god. Look at you, Geminis. What? Okay, so we've had 3 aces. Sure, one was in the reverse. But look at you guys. You're getting 2 aces upright as your outcome. Oh. Well, I know a lot of signs that would be jealous. Okay. Alright. Look at y'all just shining. Alright. So, Ace of Cups. Wow. I mean, whew. So, this is beautiful. My cup runneth over. Yes. So, with the Ace of Cups, this could be different things. This is about us, potentially starting a new relationship. Could be romantic or platonic. For some, it could be a business partnership. For some, this could be about the conception or the birth of a child. It could be for you, or it could be for someone close to you. For some of you, this could be about the conception and the birth of a new idea. And maybe the idea is one that is financial. For some of you, this can be indicating that you might have a new awareness in regards to love, or a new spiritual type of awareness and understanding. For some, this can be about psychic abilities increasing, and perhaps maybe you can make a side project, side business of that. For some, this could be getting that new home, or starting a family. This could be about finally attaining something that we have great love and passion for. Maybe there's something that you've loved and that you've wanted for so long. Well, this might be the time where you might end up getting it. Because anything that has to do with the Ace of Cups, there is definitely love there. So it doesn't always have to be about romantic relationships. Not at all. This could be about friendships. This could be about, finally getting something that you've wanted to have for so long. Sometimes this can be about family as well. So, but like I said, my cup runneth over. This is excellent. Absolutely excellent. Whew. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So we got the enough coins. Can we say money? Yeah. So this could be about, finally getting that job, with a really good large corporation, one that would be very stable and very secure and very structured, and you might be able to have excellent health care and benefits. This can also be a card of money coming in. This can also be a card of building wealth. This can also be a card of a business that is like generational, so where it is passed from one family member to the next. So some of you could be starting businesses, some of you could be taking over a business, some of you could be stepping into a position of power, some of you could be, just starting a new job, some of you could just be getting a windfall of money, But no matter what, this is money. And, there's always the potential for it to grow into wealth. So, look at this. So, it's clarified by the Eight of Coins. So this is about us having a skill, a set of skills or abilities where we can actually profit off of them financially. Also, with this card, we can actually get recognition for having these abilities and these skills. So this is kind of like, look at the Three of Coins as the apprentice. Well, the Eight of Coins is practice makes perfect. So it's like he's putting the finishing touches on one of those coins there. But practice makes perfect. The more that you use these skills and these abilities that you have, the more that they can bring you money. So this is pretty straightforward. You know, you got a set of skills, a set of abilities. Well, they very well might be able to make you some money. So use those skills, use those abilities. Maybe some of you have these skills and abilities, and maybe you've just kind of ignored them for, a few years or several years. Hey, pick it back up. Get back at it. Practice makes perfect, and you never know what type of recognition you could get and what type of financial offers you could receive. You could be offered a job. Hey, this is positive all the way around. Y'all are lucky, okay? Yeah, I know there's some damn delays up in here, okay? But look at this. I ain't feeling sorry for y'all. Y'all are lucky. No, but seriously, I feel you on all the other. I'm just clowning around yet again. I can't help it. This is what happens when I get in Gemini energy. I become a bit of a jokester. Okay. Love Oracle cards. So this will be from Geminis that are single. Keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. So that's pretty straightforward and to the point. So for those of you who are considering relationships, letting that roll around in your head and wondering, should I, shouldn't I, that's the card of saying, hey, alright, if you do, keep in mind that your soulmate could be someone that's not your usual type, so just keep an open mind, okay? Ooh, engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. Okay, I know. I hear some of y'all like, I ain't got no love life. I don't want one. Okay, that's fine. But for those of you, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Risings, that do want to be in a relationship, at some point, this card is saying, at some point, yes, you will end up in a relationship that results in an engagement. It's not going to happen in a month's time, okay? So, yeah. Oh, look at this. Reconciliation. Someone from your past is returning to your life. Oh, now that's some tea right there. Okay, so, wow. So these will be for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Risings that are in a relationship or married. Oh, wow. Unrequited love. There's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. Well, if you're in a relationship like this, you need to just let that go because you deserve better. You don't need to be in a relationship where that love is not, where it's not being given back, it's not being reciprocated. No, you deserve better. You need to kick whoever that is to the curb, okay? You deserve better. And don't let anybody tell you that you don't deserve better, okay? For real. Because sometimes people will be like, you know what? You'll never get better. Don't listen to that nonsense. Do not listen to it. Don't do it. Because that's some gaslighting crap right there, okay? Don't listen to it. You can do better, and you will do better. And the moment you get rid of that energy out of your life is the moment that you start doing better. Pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. So I feel this is very much closely connected to the unrequited love. Like, there's some red flags that are taking place and you need to pay attention to them. Don't ignore them. Don't try to rationalize it and make excuses for them. Pay attention, okay? Don't just blow that off. Analyze that situation. Analyze it. Oh, okay. And soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. So for some of you who are not experiencing those types of issues, yes, this is your soulmate. So this would be for the people who are, happily married, not experiencing these red flags or unrequited love. Or people who are in relationships that are not experiencing these issues. And maybe you've been wondering, is this soulmate? Yes, it is. Okay, time for some positive affirmations. Okay, so the first one is the fortune's wheel. Would you look at that? Look at that person looking down. Okay. So destiny meets synchronicity. I am in awe to experience meaningful coincidences that prove to me that Spirit has my back. These lucky breaks and moments when things just turn out perfectly show how we are all connected. My gamble will pay off when I trust a co-creative partnership with Spirit. My destiny is obvious to me now. Ooh, Nine of Earth. A good money card. Disciplined self-reliance, reliable resources, restraint, and self-control, the final stone placed in the foundation. I know I can rely on myself and Spirit. There are many tools at my disposal, and I use the resources wisely, solidifying the foundation of security in the material world. I am diligent and disciplined, focused on completing the work I began long ago. I stick to my program, trusting the plan is unfolding before me exactly as Spirit intended. Four of Fire. That's another good card. A new creative phase. Celebration, pleasure, harmony, and relationships. Dancers have partners, singers have musicians, helping them create sweet music. And I find others who are in sync with me and desires. It's a time for celebrating friendship and all that others bring to life, a time for revelry and relishing the pleasures of being in good company. Making magic together with others is the focus at this time. Queen of Water, which, yes, Queen of Cups. Compassion, emotional security, generosity, self-love, self-care, and healer. I am comfortable in my own skin. I love, cherish, and nurture myself. I am the best friend to myself. Relationships with others reflect security in knowing I am always worthy of love and respect. I heal myself so I can be the change I want to see in the world, and so my compassion can inspire others. That's beautiful. And temptation, which is the devil. Temptation, attachment. The material world is a playground, but I need to be careful not to be attached to outcomes. This is a warning to me to watch out for excess and to know what's not healthy for me. When this card shows up, it's a sign that I am focused on the material realm and need to be aware of any excess or addictive behavior, my own or that of others. So your own or others that are around you. Okay. Well, y'all had a good reading. I know it started out really bumpy, but wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, those last four cards were absolutely amazing. All right. Well, I love you guys, and I'm sending you blessings of healing, prosperity, and love.